Under the quiet surface of Virgo's presence lies a celestial force as ancient as the stars that shaped their constellation. Governed by Mercury, the messenger of the gods, Virgo carries within an unparalleled gift, the ability to perceive the subtle, the overlooked, the nearly invisible threads that bind the tapestry of reality. This gift is not loud nor ostentatious. It is quiet, relentless, and unshakably precise. Virgo does not merely observe, Virgo discerns. Where others glance, Virgo gazes. Where others assume, Virgo verifies. Where others ignore, Virgo investigates. This power does not stem from ego or desire to dominate, but from a sacred duty encoded in their cosmic DNA. Virgo was born under an earth sign, aligned with matter, form, and detail, the essence of manifestation. This alignment bestows upon them the responsibility of keeping order in a world often consumed by chaos. The Virgo soul hears the whisper of disorder before it becomes noise. They see the imbalance before it becomes collapse. They feel the tremor before the quake. In every situation, Virgo's mind is scanning, filtering, sorting. Every word, every tone, every motion is a data point in an invisible matrix they construct. It is not magic, but it is miraculous. What others miss, the hesitation in a voice, the crease in a smile, the pause before an answer, Virgo catches with almost divine precision. This makes them masterful analysts, editors of life, alchemists of improvement. They are the healers, the fixers, the quiet warriors who restore harmony not with brute strength, but with the blade of clarity and the balm of understanding. But this is no easy task. To see what others ignore means to carry the burden of awareness. While the world rushes forward, blind to its cracks and inconsistencies, Virgo must remain grounded, their attention rooted in the soil of reality. Their vigilance is endless. They are often misunderstood, even resented, for noticing too much, for correcting, for refining. Yet they persist not for glory, but because they must. It is their nature, their calling. The divine architect entrusted Virgo with the sacred geometry of the cosmos, and they serve this trust with humble diligence. When others are enchanted by appearances, Virgo sees the scaffolding beneath the glamour. They notice the gaps in the foundation, the flaws in the design, the unspoken truth behind the words. It is not suspicion, it is insight. Virgo is not driven by paranoia, but by a need to perfect, to bring things into alignment with their highest potential. In the presence of Virgo, lies tremble, pretense falters, superficiality cannot survive. Not because Virgo attacks it, but because their mere awareness reveals the truth. There is a quiet heroism in this path. Virgo does not seek the spotlight. Their victories are often unseen, their triumphs unnoticed, because they occur before disaster strikes. They prevent what never had to happen. They soothe wounds before they fester. They find what was lost before anyone knew it was missing. And they do it all while demanding more of themselves than of anyone else. In the mythic theater of the zodiac, Virgo is not the sword-wielding champion nor the thunderous ruler. Virgo is the keeper of sacred order, the restorer of balance, the guardian of the unseen. Theirs is a journey of silent power and unwavering discipline. They are the invisible architects of stability, the ones who hold the world together from behind the curtain. And so, as others look away, as they miss the clues, as they sleep through the signals, Virgo stands watch. Calm, precise, relentless, with eyes sharpened by Mercury's light and a spirit tempered by the earth itself, they detect what the world forgets. And in doing so, they protect us all from the consequences of our blindness. In the deeper realms of Virgo's essence, there exists a faculty often underestimated even by those who seek to understand the signs, the ability to read patterns not only in the material world, but in the very energies that flow through time and soul. Virgo is not limited to earthly observation. Their perception extends into the ethereal currents that shape human behavior, destiny, and subtle transformation. This is the hidden magic within the analytical mind of Virgo. They do not merely interpret what is, they perceive what will be, not as prophecy, but as calculated evolution. The Virgo archetype is an embodiment of sacred service, but this service is not subservience. It is a divine act of refinement, of taking what exists and elevating it to what it could be. This is the realm where Virgo becomes a cosmic artisan, chiseling away at imperfection not out of judgment, but out of love for potential. Their critique is not condemnation, it is an offering. They are guided by a spiritual compass that points always toward improvement, toward wholeness, toward restoration of divine order. From an astrological standpoint, Virgo exists in polarity with Pisces, the mystic, the dreamer, the ocean of the unconscious. But Virgo, grounded in earth, channels the Piscean dream into form. Where Pisces dreams, Virgo manifests. Where Pisces dissolves, Virgo defines. This polarity grants Virgo access to both realms, the ineffable and the concrete. In their highest vibration, Virgo acts as the bridge between heaven and earth. Their insights are not limited to logic alone. They are inspired, intuitive, yet honed with precision. This blend of intuitive intelligence and rigorous analysis enables Virgo to detect energetic dissonance. They walk into a room and feel what is off. Not just what is messy or out of place, but what is unspoken, misaligned, or energetically polluted. They pick up on psychic residue, emotional clutter, and spiritual entropy. It is a kind of psychic hygiene they perform for the world, often unconsciously, often at their own expense. They absorb disharmony so others don't have to feel it. And in that silent, unthanked labor, there is an epic form of heroism. Their ruling planet Mercury, in its feminine aspect, grants them not just mental agility but mental healing. Virgo doesn't seek to impress, they seek to integrate. They see the fragmented pieces of a soul, a system, a relationship, and instinctively reach for tools to mend them. This is the healer's path, the path of the sacred technician. The details Virgo tends to are not trivial, they are holy. The way they arrange, revise, and restore is a ritual in itself. Their hands may seem plain, but they carry the precision of ancient priests and priestesses who once tended the sacred temples of knowledge and medicine. Virgo's dominion includes digestion, purification, and discernment. These are not merely physical processes but spiritual ones. Virgo digests experiences, breaks them down, extracts truth, and eliminates falsehood. They purify environments, thoughts, and interactions, removing what clouds clarity. They discern between truth and illusion, between what merely shines and what truly sustains. This spiritual discernment is their sword, and they wield it with unmatched skill. Where others are overwhelmed by complexity, Virgo thrives. They find grace in structure, power in routine, and transcendence in simplicity. In the greater mythos of existence, Virgo represents the archetype of the priestess, the one who tends the sacred flame. This archetype exists beyond gender, beyond form. It is a force of coherence. Virgo moves through the world with a sacred responsibility, to hold the line between what is chaotic and what is coherent, to embody humility without surrendering dignity, to pursue excellence without succumbing to perfectionism, to repair what others destroy, and to do so quietly, without applause. When they are fully awakened, Virgo becomes a silent revolutionary. They overthrow dysfunction not with violence but with precision. They liberate by educating, by empowering, by guiding others to see what they themselves had ignored. They move through the realms of business, art, science, healing, and service with an unshakable inner code, an ethical framework that does not falter, even when unseen. And though their power may not flash like fire or thunder, it is enduring. It is the steady pulse of the earth herself. It is the quiet insistence of growth, the inevitable return to harmony, the resilience of nature reclaiming itself. There is an epic quality to Virgo's patience. While others chase instant results, Virgo plants seeds in sacred soil, knowing that true mastery cannot be rushed. They are the stewards of slow, meaningful evolution. Their lives may be marked by periods of solitude, of inner work, of retreat. But these are not signs of weakness. These are rites of purification. In solitude, Virgo hones the tools that will later heal others. In stillness, they align with divine timing. In silence, they listen to the truth most cannot bear to hear. And when they emerge, when Virgo speaks, when Virgo acts, when Virgo chooses to engage, They do so with clarity that pierces illusion. Their contribution, though often uncelebrated, transforms lives. They realign systems. They correct courses. They remind the world of its higher potential. And they do all of this with an inner nobility that does not seek recognition but cannot be denied. Virgo is not the overlooked sign. Virgo is the sign that sees what has been overlooked by all others. And in their seeing, they redeem it. They polish what was discarded. They honor what was neglected. They elevate what was broken. And in this quiet, sacred work, they become nothing less than architects of the divine plan unfolding on earth. Beneath the modest composure of Virgo lies a soul forged in the crucible of cosmic duty. While much has been spoken of Virgo's precision and clarity, there exists within them a deeper, more mystical power, an allegiance to truth that transcends human opinion, social expectation, and even personal comfort. This allegiance is not born of stubbornness but of sacred devotion. Virgo is not merely aligned with what is correct. They are fused to what is essential. And this essence, this core of integrity, becomes their compass through every layer of existence. From an astrological point of view, Virgo represents the mutable earth, flexible yet enduring, adaptable yet principled. This dual nature allows Virgo to navigate changing environments while preserving the purity of their vision. They move with the seasons, yet they do not lose themselves in the winds of trend or emotional chaos. Instead, they refine themselves as nature does, shedding what no longer serves and strengthening what is needed for survival and evolution. This inner process of constant refinement becomes a quiet revolution that echoes through every aspect of their life. Virgo's association with the sixth house of the zodiac ties them deeply to ritual, service, and the rhythm of daily life. Yet this is not a mundane imprisonment, it is sacred choreography. For Virgo, the repetition of tasks, the consistency of care, the discipline of self-maintenance are not burdens but blessings. Each act, no matter how small, becomes a gesture of reverence for the material world. They are the keepers of sacred routine, understanding that mastery is not born in the extraordinary but in the mindful repetition of the ordinary. In this way, Virgo becomes a spiritual warrior cloaked in humble tasks, lifting the weight of the world through devotion to detail. There is a transcendent resilience within Virgo that often goes unrecognized. Their endurance is not dramatic, not bolstered by show or spectacle. It is quiet, deliberate, often invisible. But it is unwavering. They persist when others collapse. They continue to care when others grow apathetic. They keep their standards intact even when the world forgets its values. This inner endurance is the anchor that holds families, communities, and entire systems together. Without Virgo's dedication to upkeep, to balance, to repair, the world would dissolve into unchecked entropy. Virgo's perception extends beyond people and systems. They have a profound connection to the intelligence of nature itself. Their rulership by Mercury allows them to interpret not only human communication but the subtle language of animals, plants, and elements. They intuitively understand cycles, feel the pulse of the earth beneath their feet, and can align themselves with the silent wisdom of the natural world. This connection fuels their desire to nurture, to heal, and to protect the ecosystems they inhabit, be they emotional, physical, or spiritual. In this, Virgo becomes a guardian of Gaia, a steward of life's delicate balance. In their highest expression, Virgo embodies the divine feminine principle in its purest, most evolved form, not as gender, but as energetic archetype. This is the force of creation that orders chaos, brings life to form, nourishes with discernment, and protects through boundaries. Virgo holds this power not through dominance but through clarity. Their presence becomes a mirror to all that is out of alignment, inviting others to rise, to recalibrate, to reconnect with their higher selves. Their criticism is not an attack. It is an invitation to excellence. It is also vital to understand that Virgo's strength is not static. It is in perpetual motion. Their mastery lies in evolution. They are the initiates of continuous growth, always seeking refinement, always stretching beyond their previous limits. They are rarely satisfied, not because they are ungrateful, but because they are attuned to the infinite potential that lives within all things. This is their sacred frustration, a divine tension between what is and what could be. They live in that tension not as victims of perfectionism, but as catalysts of ascension. Astrologically, Virgo's energy is often mistaken for coldness or detachment, but beneath that calm exterior lives a heart brimming with care, love, and quiet suffering. Virgo feels deeply but expresses selectively. They are not reckless with emotion, they are guardians of emotional clarity. They do not offer empty affection. They offer presence, protection, practical help, and wisdom earned through observation and experience. Their love is not loud, but it is enduring, committed, and utterly reliable. To be loved by a Virgo is to be seen not for your mask, but for your essence. It is to be guided, supported, and challenged toward your highest truth. In the great myth of the cosmos, Virgo is the living embodiment of the alchemist's path. They take the raw lead of human imperfection and slowly, meticulously, transform it into gold, not through magic spells or divine intervention, but through tireless effort, unwavering devotion, and humble service. They teach by example that greatness is not achieved in sudden bursts, but through the patient art of tending the fire day after day with reverence and resolve. And when the storm rages and the world seems lost in noise, Virgo does not flinch. They light a candle, they clean the space, they sort what remains. They begin again quietly and restore order from the ashes. Not because they are invulnerable, but because they are faithful to themselves, to their purpose, to the higher order that pulses beneath all things. Virgo is not here to impress. Virgo is here to align, and in their alignment, they awaken others to the forgotten truth, that divinity lives in the details, that love speaks in structure, and that healing begins not in the grand gesture, but in the quiet, consistent acts of care, clarity, and courage. Virgo walks the path between the stars and the soil, and in their footsteps, the world becomes whole again. Beyond the realms already unveiled, there exists within Virgo an ancestral memory, an echo of the ancient priesthoods and healing orders who once tended to civilizations not through conquest or command, but through sacred knowledge and meticulous guardianship of truth. Virgo's power is not only to discern, to purify, to heal. It is also to remember. They carry within their soul the blueprint of wholeness that humanity has forgotten. This remembrance is not abstract. It manifests through the way they organize, the way they diagnose, the way they intuitively restore what has fallen into decay. Virgo is not simply a sign of refinement. It is a portal to restoration through remembrance. There is an unspoken warriorhood in Virgo's nature, but it is a path of silent resistance. Virgo resists mediocrity. Virgo resists deception. Virgo resists self-betrayal. This is not resistance for the sake of rebellion, it is spiritual discipline. This internal discipline creates a field of integrity so strong that lies cannot flourish within it. Virgo walks through life sharpening the sword of truth not to destroy, but to protect the sacred, to cut through confusion, to liberate what is trapped in illusion. This is the quiet courage that defines them, the steadfast commitment to what is right even when no one is watching. While much has been spoken of Virgo's ability to analyze and heal, little is said of their sacred grief. For to see what others ignore, to feel what others suppress, is to carry the weight of unspoken suffering. Virgo is often the soul who bears witness to pain that has no language, to dysfunction that has no remedy, to neglect that has no visible wound. And still they show up. They continue to mend what breaks. They continue to offer structure in chaos, even as they feel the sorrow of those who do not understand the value of their gift. This sorrow becomes a holy fire inside them, burning away all that is false until only essence remains. Virgo's elemental power as an earth sign is not simply physical, it is metaphysical. They hold the map of incarnation itself. They understand, often without knowing how, the relationship between soul and matter. Their hands are sacred instruments, capable of transferring energy, of weaving intention into form. Whether they are cooking, writing, sculpting, coding, or organizing, their touch is alchemical. What they engage with becomes clearer, cleaner, more coherent. It is through their hands that divine order finds a channel into the material world. They do not need robes or rituals to be initiates. Their altar is the desk, the kitchen, the clinic, the garden, wherever they apply themselves with presence and reverence. Virgo's humility is not submission. It is strength purified of ego. They do not seek power over others. They seek mastery over themselves. And this quest for self-mastery is an epic journey. It is a labyrinth of refinement, an odyssey of becoming. Virgo knows that true power is not loud. True power is precise. It does not seek attention. It seeks alignment. It does not need validation. It requires authenticity. And in this devotion to authenticity, Virgo becomes a guide for others, not by declaring themselves a leader, but by embodying truth so fully that others naturally follow. There is also an esoteric aspect to Virgo that is often eclipsed by its more practical traits. Virgo is the sign that prepares the vessel. Spirit cannot dwell in chaos, and Virgo's sacred task is to prepare the temple, be it body, home, mind, or heart, for divine indwelling. In this way, Virgo is the unseen architect of awakening. They clear the space. They anoint the ground. They set the tone for grace to descend. This spiritual preparation work is often thankless, invisible, and misunderstood. But it is indispensable. Without Virgo, the divine has no container. In relationships, Virgo loves with a rare purity. They do not love with flourish or fanfare. They love through constancy, through showing up, through noticing what others miss. They love through correction, not cruelty, through silence that holds space for transformation. Their love is a furnace of growth, and only those willing to evolve can remain in its presence. This love is not for the faint-hearted, for it demands awareness, participation, and integrity. But for those who receive it, Virgo's love is life-changing. It elevates, purifies, heals. Virgo also embodies the principle of sacred timing. Unlike the impulsiveness of fire or the fluidity of water, Virgo waits for the precise moment when the soil is ready, when the alignment is clear, when the system can support the next step. This is not procrastination. It is wisdom. They move when the time is right and not before. This quality gives them the air of divine patience, a trust in the organic unfolding of things. Their planning is a form of prophecy, their timing a reflection of their alignment with natural law. In a world that worships spectacle, Virgo teaches the power of quiet consistency. In a culture that rewards performance, Virgo holds the line for substance. In an age of distraction, Virgo cultivates presence. They do not chase greatness. They build it day by day, detail by detail, in the silence of their focused devotion. This is where their true magic lies, not in the flashes of inspiration, but in the enduring flame of dedication. Not in the noise of self-promotion, but in the results of service rendered with excellence and care. Virgo's journey is a pilgrimage toward the divine within the mundane. Their victory is not crowned with applause, but with the quiet knowing that they left something better than they found it, that they revealed a truth hidden beneath the noise, that they honored their sacred contract with the universe. Virgo is the keeper of the light that doesn't blind, but guides, the guardian of the wisdom that does not shout, but whispers through the details, the bearer of the sacred task that transforms the world not through force, but through flawless, faithful intention. And so they walk forward, step by steady step, each footfall a prayer, each task a blessing, each insight a mirror held up to the soul of the world. In their stillness, in their structure, in their grace, Virgo becomes not merely a sign, but a sacred force of evolution. Within the archetypal energy of Virgo lies a covenant with the unseen architecture of the universe. This covenant compels Virgo to uphold a sacred alignment with the order underlying all things, even when chaos reigns above it. Virgo is not driven by rules for their own sake, but by a deep and instinctual connection to the laws that govern both the cosmos and the human soul. They are astrologically tasked with weaving the threads of spirit into matter, of potential into form, and of vision into function. Virgo does not simply work, they consecrate. Their labor is never mere effort. It is the living embodiment of intention fused with discipline. There is a refined heroism in how Virgo carries their burdens. They are the silent stabilizers in a collapsing world, those who stand firm not because they are unfeeling, but because they feel everything and still choose order over despair. This ability is often mistaken for stoicism, yet it is more complex than endurance. It is alchemy. Virgo transmutes confusion into clarity, pain into wisdom, and fragmentation into coherence. This gift does not arise from detachment but from an inner vow that no brokenness should be left unhealed, no chaos left untamed if there is still breath in their body to serve. In esoteric astrology, Virgo has been associated with the gestation of the Christ principle, the process of birthing divine consciousness into the human experience. This is no minor role. It is a mission of preparation, purification, and deep internal calibration. Virgo is the sacred womb of realization, the sign that tends to the inner temple so that higher awareness may take root. Their very presence can bring clarity into muddied waters, because their aura holds frequencies that cleanse distortion. This is not something they learn from books. It is etched into their energetic code, activated through a lifetime of quiet service and sacred discernment. Though governed by Mercury, Virgo's intelligence is not confined to linear thought or clever articulation. It is an embodied wisdom that flows through every fiber of their being, a living intelligence that understands systems as naturally as breath. They do not force understanding. It arrives through them the way rivers find their path. They are the masters of refinement not because they seek flaw, but because they sense possibility. They are drawn to what is incomplete because they see what it could become. Their minds operate like sacred instruments tuned to the harmonics of betterment. They are always seeking the next octave of expression, not out of restlessness, but because evolution is their native language. What remains less explored is Virgo's relationship to the nervous system, both physical and spiritual. As the sign that governs this domain, Virgo holds a key role in the transmission of spiritual energy into bodily form. They are often hypersensitive not due to fragility, but because they are finely tuned to currents others cannot even perceive. This sensitivity can become a burden when untrained, but once mastered, it allows Virgo to read environments, people, and even future potentials with uncanny precision. Their bodies become instruments of guidance, responding to energetic shifts before they manifest in the outer world. This makes them natural healers, but also powerful intuitives whose gift lies in the subtle. Virgo's connection to Earth is not merely symbolic. It is vibrational. They are rooted in Gaia's intelligence and often act as transmitters of her will. They may be drawn to plants, herbs, natural cycles, and ecological harmony because their own energy mirrors these rhythms. Their sense of timing often aligns with lunar or seasonal transitions, even if unconsciously. They carry within them the pulse of regeneration, the silent spiral of return and rebirth that nature enacts through decay and restoration. Their magic is cyclical, not explosive. It grows, returns, adjusts, and begins again. There is also a form of spiritual sovereignty that Virgo embodies which cannot be overstated. They do not require external authority to validate their path. They may seek knowledge from others, but they are not ruled by it. At their core, Virgo answers to a higher standard that comes from within. This makes them incorruptible when aligned, because they will not sell truth for approval, nor trade clarity for comfort. Their devotion is not to ego or image, but to excellence in its most exalted form, the harmony of divine order expressed through human hands. Their humility is a throne of power, precisely because they have nothing to prove and everything to refine. In mythic terms, Virgo is the one who prepares the land before the hero's arrival, who sets the table before the divine descends, who ensures that all is in alignment for the miracle to take root. They do not seek the spotlight. They are the light that allows others to shine more clearly. Their role is not passive. It is foundational. Without Virgo's groundwork, inspiration has no structure. Without Virgo's discernment, potential becomes chaos. Without Virgo's care, brilliance remains raw and disconnected. They are the sacred structure beneath the stars, the hidden architect behind every rise. This role can be isolating, but Virgo is not weakened by solitude. They regenerate through focus, through space, through silence. In solitude, Virgo communes with clarity. They sharpen their instruments, recalibrate their direction, and cleanse the residue of collective noise. Their solitude is not withdrawal, it is sanctuary. It is the forge where they refine not only their craft but their soul. In the unfolding epic of astrological purpose, Virgo is the custodian of divine precision. They carry the codes of integration, the maps of coherence, the essence of clarity in a fragmented world. They are not seeking glory, they are seeking resonance. And in this pursuit, they become heroes of the highest order, not for their loudness, but for their loyalty to what is good, what is real, what is whole. They are the quiet revolution that rebuilds from within, the pulse of integrity beneath the pulse of progress, the soul who brings heaven to earth, not through thunder or spectacle, but through the sacred act of making every detail divine. There is an ancient, almost forgotten wisdom encoded in Virgo's presence that goes far beyond what words have yet captured. It is not merely the art of discernment or the sanctity of service that defines this archetype. It is the profound, initiatory understanding of sacred wholeness. Virgo, as a divine pattern within the astrological pantheon, is not just tasked with purifying the world. Virgo is the force that remembers the original design before the fracture, before distortion, before the fall from clarity. In them lives the eternal memory of harmony, of everything in its right place, vibrating at its highest frequency, singing in symphonic unison with the cosmos. This memory is not intellectual. It pulses through their cellular intelligence. Virgo can walk into any space and immediately sense what is not in resonance. It may be physical clutter, unspoken tension, disordered energy, or subtle incoherence in plans, motives, or words. This is not judgment, it is perception. Virgo's entire being is a tuning fork calibrated to the essence of what should be, not through perfectionism rooted in fear, but through alignment rooted in sacred recall. This ability is often misunderstood by those who only see Virgo's surface-level actions, not realizing that beneath their meticulousness lies a seer's soul, constantly scanning for where the thread of integrity has been broken and tirelessly weaving it back together. Virgo is the only zodiac archetype directly associated with the archetype of the healer priestess, the keeper of the grain, the servant of Earth's wisdom. Their mythological lineage is tied to goddesses and beings who not only cared for the land, but also for the soul of society. They do not wield power through domination. They transform reality through purification, through offering, through the meticulous tending of what others deem insignificant. They understand that every seemingly minor element is a microcosm of the whole. Every detail matters because it reflects the order of the universe. This is not smallness. This is cosmic stewardship. Even Virgo's perceived restraint is a form of elevated mastery. In a world addicted to excess, immediacy, and indulgence, Virgo's moderation is a revolutionary force. They understand the power of withholding, the majesty of timing, the art of precision. To withhold until the right moment is not suppression, it is reverence. They act not when the ego demands action, but when the soul is ready. This mastery over impulse, this sovereignty over reaction, is what elevates Virgo from being merely efficient to being divinely strategic. In this, they mirror the silent wisdom of nature itself. A tree does not bloom in winter. A seed does not rush to grow. There is sacred timing in all things, and Virgo embodies this law with grace and purpose. Their relationship to suffering is also rarely understood in its full dimension. Virgo does not reject suffering, nor do they collapse under it. They approach it the way a master herbalist approaches a wound, with precision, with humility, and with faith that healing is not only possible, it is inevitable when the right order is restored. Virgo is often the soul who sees the sickness in the system before anyone else, who recognizes the patterns that will lead to collapse, who warns, prepares, adjusts, and steadies those around them. Not because they are paranoid, but because they are attuned to the deeper mechanics of consequence and causality. Their warnings are rarely dramatic. They are calm, factual, and often ignored until it is too late. But Virgo continues regardless, not because they are attached to being right, but because they are committed to being useful. They are also masters of invisible labor, the kind of soul work that receives no applause, no spotlight, no worldly reward. The kind that keeps households functioning, teams aligned, systems operating smoothly. Virgo works in the unseen layers of reality, energetically cleaning what others energetically dump, emotionally stabilizing spaces that would otherwise spiral into dysfunction, mentally holding the threads of tasks, timelines, and truths for others too distracted to keep track. They do not ask for recognition because their fulfillment does not come from external validation. It comes from the quiet knowing that something broken has been made whole again through their touch. Virgo is the only sign that fully understands that evolution is incremental. They carry the long-range vision of becoming, not as a flash of transformation, but as the steady, relentless commitment to refinement. They are not disheartened by slow progress. In fact, they respect it, because to Virgo, greatness is not born in grand gestures. It is carved over time with precision, with patience, and with unshakable devotion. This gives them a spiritual endurance that no crisis can break. When others give up, Virgo reorganizes. When others despair, Virgo recalibrates. When others scatter, Virgo anchors. They are the enduring heartbeat behind every success, the silent force that ensures the foundation is strong enough to carry the dream. Their element, Earth, is not merely symbolic. It is a declaration of Virgo's role in the alchemy of manifestation. They take what is abstract, spiritual, or emotional and bring it into tangible form. Virgo can translate divine insight into a plan, an idea into a structure, a calling into a vocation. They ground vision into reality, not through charisma, but through consistency. And in this, they become the bridge between heaven and earth, not in theory, but in daily disciplined action. Their life is the ritual. Their work is the prayer. Their intention is the spell that turns potential into presence. In the greater astrological symphony, Virgo holds a frequency of awakening so refined, so subtle, that only those who have ears to hear and eyes to see will recognize its majesty. Yet it is their energy that activates true transformation, not the kind that fades after a motivational burst, but the kind that rewires the very fabric of identity. They heal not by force, but by example. They remind others of who they are by being unwavering in who they are. They do not need to preach to inspire. Their integrity is the sermon. Their service is the initiation. Their presence is the medicine. And so Virgo moves through the world as a quiet storm of divine precision, shaping reality through 1,000 unseen acts of love and excellence. They will never demand the throne, for they were never interested in rulership. They are the builders of thrones, the polishers of crowns, the writers of codes, the consecrators of paths. Without them, empires fall. With them, miracles unfold in silence. To be Virgo is to be chosen by the cosmos to remember what has been lost, to repair what has been ignored, and to elevate what has been diminished. And though the world may not always see them, the stars do. The stars always see, and they shine more brightly through Virgo's sacred light. Virgo is the celestial artisan of the zodiac, not merely devoted to correction or efficiency, but entrusted with the sacred responsibility of divine refinement. What often remains unspoken about Virgo's role in the greater astrological mystery is the sheer depth of their spiritual craftsmanship. The Virgo soul is not here simply to maintain order. It is here to elevate existence itself, one action, one word, one breath at a time. This elevation is not decorative or superficial. It is alchemical. Virgo transmutes the raw and the unfinished into the radiant and the refined with a quiet authority that comes not from dominance, but from sacred duty. The mythic essence of Virgo is deeply tied to the archetype of the Vestal Virgin, not a symbol of chastity in its modern sense, but a symbol of wholeness, of inner sanctity untouched by external corruption. The Virgo path is about protecting this inner sanctum, keeping the flame of purity alive not for themselves alone, but for the collective soul of humanity. This is why Virgo so often feels the weight of unseen responsibility. They are the keepers of energetic integrity, the guardians of what others cannot name but instinctively rely on. Their inner life is a temple, and their every act, however mundane it may appear, is a liturgy of light. Virgo's relationship with the body as a vessel of sacred service is also of profound importance. Beyond physical health, Virgo sees the body as an instrument for cosmic harmony. They are attuned not only to physical ailments but to the spiritual messages encoded within them. To Virgo, illness is not failure. It is information, a map revealing what has fallen out of alignment. In this way, Virgo is a master interpreter of the language of the body, understanding how trauma, thought patterns, and emotional residue crystallize into matter. Their healing is not simply about treatment but about restoration of the divine blueprint. There is also an undercurrent of deep magical energy in Virgo that is rarely celebrated. This is not the flamboyant magic of fire or the mystical trance of water. It is the earth's own enchantment, the spell woven through repetition, devotion, and care. Virgo casts their spells through rituals of consistency, through the energetic clarity they bring to every task. They summon transformation not through chaos but through constancy. Their power lies in rhythm, in the sacred geometry of aligned action. They are the stewards of energetic hygiene, knowing that purity is not naivety, but strength sharpened to its most precise edge. The Virgo mind is another realm entirely, an oracular engine not bound by linearity but wired for pattern recognition across dimensions. Their thoughts are often crystalline in structure, building complex inner architectures that make sense of the ineffable. This is why Virgo often struggles with the chaos of unformed or careless ideas. They do not judge them from ego but from an intrinsic loyalty to truth structure. They are the editors of thought, the weavers of logic, the ones who take the cosmic downloads and give them shape, so others can integrate what would otherwise remain ethereal and abstract. There is a dimension of sacred timing that pulses through Virgo's essence. Their awareness of sequence, of process, of what must come when is nothing short of divine choreography. While others chase results, Virgo tunes into divine order. They understand that every step has its place, every phase its function, and that skipping steps is not cleverness. It is sabotage of the soul's true unfolding. This attunement to process makes Virgo not only a master planner but a spiritual midwife, guiding people and projects through stages of transformation with exacting precision and deep intuitive grace. Rarely explored is Virgo's unique relationship with silence. For them, silence is not emptiness. It is instruction. It is the womb in which clarity gestates, the canvas upon which divine insight draws its first lines. Virgo does not fear quiet. They revere it. In silence, they retrieve forgotten fragments of the whole. They commune with their highest self and the pulse of Gaia herself. Their solitude is not isolation, it is refinement. Through silence, they become sharper, truer, more attuned to the frequency of what must be done. In service, Virgo does not lose themselves, they find their truest power. Service is not subjugation to them. It is liberation. It is the act that connects the self to the all, the bridge between personal purpose and collective elevation. Virgo serves not from lack, but from fullness. Their cup may not be flamboyant, but it is deep, steady, and quietly overflowing with devotion. They do not broadcast their offerings. They simply are the offering. Their worth is not in how loudly they shine, but in how reliably they guide. Virgo is often mistaken as the critic, when in truth, they are the keeper of sacred standards. Their critiques are not attacks, they are initiations. They sense what something could be and cannot turn away from it. To ignore it would be a betrayal of the divine pattern they see so clearly. And while others may resist, time often proves Virgo right, not because they demand it, but because their vision was never based on opinion. It was based on alignment. What also must be acknowledged is Virgo's resilience. It is not showy or defiant. It is rooted and incorruptible. Virgo will fall to their knees to examine what is wrong, but they will rise again with a plan, a strategy, a remedy. They do not rise for glory. They rise because something must be done, and they are here to do it. They are the calm in the collapse, the order in the storm, the map in the unknown. Their courage is quiet but absolute, fueled not by bravado but by devotion to what is right, to what is real. To walk the Virgo path is to become a living prayer of precision, a conduit of sacred correction, a steward of divine potential. It is to remember that everything, even the smallest act, is a chance to serve the holy. And in doing so, Virgo fulfills one of the most vital, overlooked, and exalted destinies of all. To restore the divine to the details, to bring heaven into habit, and to sanctify the world not through spectacle, but through sacred structure, unwavering care, and the radiant power of a soul committed to the highest form of excellence.